Hello everybody, welcome to the wonderful world of unreal tenses. This is the most difficult part in this book, this together with the passive and reported passive, like Messi is believed to have missed penalty kick or whatever. So page 121, let's see if we can do this properly and we can learn from it. Important points, okay, about the writing. You've been doing this for some time, but anyway. Between 2 and 5 words, don't change the meaning, okay, similar meaning. If Ella appears, Ella has to appear, okay, or if the name appears, okay, the name has to appear, it already appears here, but sometimes it doesn't and you need to include it. Instead of writing she, you can't. If it says learn, don't change it unless you have to change it. Now, this is especially important with these tenses because they are unreal. For example, I am short. If I wasn't short, so you have to change the tense. So if I was taller, notice that you are making changes, but because you have to. So this happens in most cases with unreal tenses, with these structures. So you have to be really, really careful so that the meaning is the same. Sometimes you change the meaning. The conditional and the conditional is the same. Second conditional and third conditional are like this. And you change it or you don't change it when you have to. So you are changing reality completely. Okay? And what I do is I read the sentence, I look at this and I think, okay, what structure am I expected to use? Okay, wish plus whatever, but you have them here. Wish or if only plus past simple. You want reality to be different. It's for states. Could, you want to do something that you can't. Okay, this is the key. Would, you want someone else to do something or to stop doing something. Past perfect, anything about the past. Okay, regret about the past, always past perfect. Past perfect is I had done, had plus the third form. Okay, so you think about what the structure, what is being expressed here. Something about the past, you want someone else to do something, you're not happy with the current situation, or you can't do something now and you want to do it. And then you put it into practice. Okay, so do this for each of them. Remember, contractions count as 2 words. Ready? One thing here, remember this is wrong. This is was or were. You can use both, but anyway, it's not being, it's was. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Make sure you've done it. I'm going to give you some clues. She didn't learn, so past regret, wishes plus past perfect. 3, 2, 1. Okay, wishes she had learned. Now be careful because sometimes you spell wish badly, despite the fact that you have it here, so please. Okay, rather, you prefer you, okay, you have a preference for someone else, so this one is this one. Okay, I'd rather someone else. Then past simple if it refers to the present or future, past perfect if it refers to the past. So you have a preference for someone, okay, so the verb afterwards is past simple when it refers to the present, past perfect if it refers to the past. Okay, so check it. 3, 2, 1. I'd rather you wore. Okay, I'd rather you plus the past. You also have, remember this. Okay, I'd rather do something. Okay, this without no to. I'd rather go. I'd rather go to Madrid than to Barcelona. Okay, notice this. Time. The expression is time plus past simple. It's time someone did something. Okay, high time about. These are for emphasis. So again, it's time or it's high time. Subject is we, you, he, she, and then the past. Okay, it's time we did something about COVID-19. 3, 2, 1. Okay, it's time you went home. You should have already gone home, so it's time you went. As if my legs were made. So this is unreal. They are not really made of jelly. Jelly is gelatina. So this is the same with though. As if and as though are the same. Okay, so my legs felt as though, como si estuvieran hechas en Spanish. I took the bus. This is the past. So this is third conditional. The train is so expensive. This is present. So this will be second conditional. So if the train is expensive, but okay, this is wrong. Now it's going to be a mess, but anyway. If the train wasn't so expensive, it is wrong because the train this is present. So if the train wasn't so expensive, if you want to say hadn't, then because the train was so expensive, specifically that day the train was very expensive, or that ticket was very expensive, but it is present. So I am short. If I wasn't short, no. If I hadn't been short, didn't get up in time. In the past, I'm late for work now. So 3, 2, 1. This part is second conditional. Now this is wrong too. I am late for work, so I wouldn't be late. I wouldn't be late for work if I had got up in time. So I don't know, they got confused. I'm late. This is present, so I would be. Okay. I'm a teacher. I wouldn't be a teacher. No, I wouldn't have been a teacher. Okay. Next exercise, number 2. Now this one is, before I forget, that exercise was part 4, so make sure you record your mistakes very carefully because this is difficult. Okay, this is really difficult. Even in the C1 it appears and people still have problems, people who make it to the C1 course. Part 3. What do you need to do in part 3? You need to decide whether you need a noun, adjective, adverb, or verb. Remember, the most typical structure is, it's not here, not the first one, but when you have the, a, my, you, he, many, of prepositions, and then you need a noun. I'm tired of boys, tired of girls, I'm tired of computers, my book, my computer, his book, their book, a book. When you have a word before the noun, normally it's an adjective. My new book. And when you have another one, it's usually an adverb, but it could be an adjective, but this one is not so common anymore. The most common one is adjective now. With verb to be, the same. Verb to be, normally an adjective. You could have an adverb modifying the adjective, but normally verb to be plus adjective. Or verb to be plus this. No? I want to be a, so then you need a noun. Okay, so do it carefully, and then you need to be careful with the spelling. First, you need to know what you need, and then write it carefully, write it correctly. Positive, negative, sometimes with verbs, like encourage, discourage, or adjectives, happy and happy, singular, plural with nouns, response, responses. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, make sure you've done it, make sure you've checked it. I'm going to give you some clues. This is a verb and this happened in the past. So you need the past for this verb. 3, 2, 1. It was in the I think it was in an essay before this unit. So broadened, ensanchó, amplió. Dio amplitud de miras. So broadened my. Had a very finish. You have the noun, you have the adverb, you need the adjective. For dramatic. Meeting my hero was very. Do you need the adjective? No. Verb to be, I told you. Verb to be plus adjective or adverb adjective. So the adjective for inspire, you had it in Speak Out. The book by Gabriel Garcia Marquez was very inspiring. You can say inspirational. Inspirational would be okay. And I'm going to type it. Okay, an inspirational leader. So inspirational, inspiring, both are correct. Okay, in case you wrote that. Where, again, verb to be, very, so you need the adjective. 3, 2, 1, critical, notice, critical of something. Your parents are critical of your behavior, of your clothes, probably. They are critical of lots of things. In order to work, now this is another one, it's not so typical, but which word modifies a verb? At verb comes from Latin, ad is junto. So ad verb is the word that goes next to the verb because it modifies it. So think about how you make the adverb from the adjective and why. 3, 2, 1. Productively. There, you need the noun. I've seen this in a podcast. So have you recently, depending on when you watch this. Some of the groups have just done this podcast. Okay, so there, I told you when this my, his, and now anxiety. I think this one is in the final test for this book too. Completely, you need the adjective. Okay, adverb, adjective. This one is difficult. You have cooked it too much. So it is overcooked. But over means too much, to overwork, to overdo, to overestimate is too much. Now, you need a verb. How do you know that you need a verb? Because you don't have the verb I. How on this project? You need a verb here. You need to understand now, is it positive or negative? Is it underestimate or overestimate? It has taken longer. So do you estimate more time or less? Less. So you underestimate it. How long it would take. You thought it would take less, so less is under. Had to be, this is the third form of the verb because it's the passive. So you need the third form, and if the road was destroyed, it had already been built. So it had to be, again, rebuilt. And it was very going to go surfing alone, positive or negative? Negative. Surfing alone in such a strong wind. So, and be careful with the spelling. 3 to 1, like a regular verb, the opposite is irregular. So irresponsible. So record them in part 3 very carefully because these are difficult. Normally it's not so difficult. And last one, part 2. Okay, we record this one in part 2. Read it first and then you do it. You need prepositions, but read the whole thing because a preposition may change depending on what comes afterwards. It's not always the same preposition. Sometimes a word can be followed by different prepositions. I go up the stairs, I go down the stairs. It depends on what you say afterwards or the context. So, do it carefully. Some words, reckless is the opposite of careful, and this is difficult. Harder times were to come. My last morning was to be taken away from me. You have this in Rebecca. It's like something is going to happen. So, were to come, we're going to come. For story, like 4 pisos. Strap himself. Strap is una correa, no sé. Strap is abrocharte. Bunk is like a bed that you have in prison or in a boat. That's a bunk, un catre in Spanish. Okay, so make sure you've done it. I'm going to give you the answers in 3, 2, 1. Now, she's returning from the trip. If you are here, you have returned from London and you have returned to Elda. So this is an example of what I told you. It depends. Sometimes there's only one possibility, but it depends very often on what you have, the context. So she's returning. Returning is after returning. So this one is always the same. Okay, I believe in, succeed in. You congratulate someone on. Be careful with this one. Take on is emprender, afrontar algo, to take on something, normally something difficult. Cancel, call it off, double F. You prepare for something. The lack of, we've seen this in a podcast, I think. Lack, an impact on, like impact, effect. I've said this recently. In unit 5 or 7, unit 6, I think. The one of the things that we got right, or scientists got right and wrong in films. Admit it. I may have mentioned this. Normally 2 is omitted, but you can write it. Admit being or admit to being. Moody is that you get upset easily, or then you are happy, then you cry. Homesick, you miss home. Nostálgico, to deal with. And prevent something from ing. That's it. Thank you very much. Make sure you record them. Normally you just need, in this case, you just need to copy the sentence and highlight prevent herself from ing, or deal with something. Admit to ing. Impact on. That's it. Thank you very much. Bye.